We have so many more StarCraft games ahead of us.
It's going to be a busy time, Kev. Here we go. On to game number 3 between Hack and Crank, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Derelict Watcher. The blue Terran from StarTale. It is Hack. And his opponent up in the top right, the red Protoss from Axiom, looked great on his last map. It is Crank.
I think Derelict might be a good map for Crank as well, since he often loves to play with a lot of gates late game and just have pylons all over the map, and he loves that. He's really good in setting up sandwich engagements against Terran. We saw it even in the last map, even though he was so far ahead that he didn't really need it, but a couple of Zealots coming in from the right side while the Bio Army and the SCVs were trapped in between. That was excellent. If you can do that on a moment where it truly matters, then it's fantastic. And Derelict, I mean, there's so much open space on this map that, you know, I would really love to see Crank just play it safe, passive, and then I think, man, he might be fine.
Derelict, a deceptively huge map, which
it's hard to cover and creep.
Yeah, hard to cover and creep, but it plays well to what you were just talking about, warping in units all over the place, setting up big surrounds, and just being mobile. If Crank plays a style like he showed in our previous map, it might be good here.
The same thing what I said on Frost kind of goes with Derelict as well, because there is so much open space in the middle of the map. It's hard to always see medevacs coming. You know, if they just fly towards the edges of the map, sure, then it will be easy if you have an observer in the right place. But because there is so much space in the middle of the map, you could be pretty susceptible to just run-bys over the ground, which are just as strong.
Gasless opening right now for Hack, so he's going to be going 1 racks fast expand. Looks like he might even be building that command center on the low ground.
Yeah, nothing too funky about that. I think he should be more than fine. It's such a traditional opening. It's funny that he still likes this.
And Crank will likely be doing something similar.
We haven't seen Hack open once aggressively today. Not a single game day where he got a factory immediately and tried to drop a couple of Widow Mines or proxy a factory. I'm not saying that it's amazing, but I definitely think it's good to throw in once in a best of 3, or certainly if you play 2 best of 3s against Protoss players and you know that they're watching the games as well. I think to at least proxy a factory in one of those games, even if it gets scouted, it's still intimidating and it's still going to give you a little bit of map control for a while.
I think the fact that he hasn't done that certainly speaks to his confidence. He's essentially saying, hey, I'm going to just win in the macro game every single time.
But I find his third base timing so weird. I often have the feeling that he wants to go 2 base all in, and then suddenly he still drops the 3rd base.
Yeah.
It's kinda.
And that's never really worked out for him. Has he won a game that's gone up to 3 bases yet? I don't think he has.
No. No, he did not.
So, Crank, with that Nexus started up, just beginning to add in his gases and start to tech.
And of course, once more for people who joined us later today, we already mentioned once, tomorrow is going to be the final group of WCS, WCS Group D. It should be a really fun group with Huck, of course, Canadian hero. We're going to have Paul, our reigning champion. We're going to have Apocalypse, who's, you know, a little bit of a dark horse as well. And then last but not least, we got Biol, which I think is a super exciting player, and I can't wait to see how he is going to perform. Once upon a time, there was so much hype around Biol, and then it kind of died out, but from what I know, he's extremely good at the moment.
Man, Kev, look at these crazy Vespene volcanoes.
I can't see anything on your screen.
Well, look at it on your screen.
Yeah, well,
they've got these little spinning circles inside of them.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ben.
Inside the mountain.
Never mind. I'm gonna miss something important because I'm looking into
No, you're missing something important already.
No, we're not.
There's spinning orbs inside the Vespene geysers.
Once more, we have the 3 racks opening over here by Hack. Something he did in pretty much every single game. Crank should be more than fine though. He could always cast Photon Overcharge if it's really necessary, but he doesn't want to cast it too early. He can actually just out-micro these 4 Marines with these 2 Stalkers. There's so much... I mean, Photon Overcharge now and they're all 4 dead.
Yeah, those
he rather doesn't use it.
Not long to this world. They're going to try and get a decent scout.
Blink being researched, and...
will they get there?
I think now...
Will they get there?
Yeah,
it's going to be close, yes.
Wow.
Hello
that is
there.
A big scout for Hack, a very big scout. Blink extremely good on there, like we've seen MC do it so many times, and even when MMA, kind of similar to this game, scouted it in one of the the final game of WCS Europe, he still had a very, very hard time at defending it, because...
Wasn't that a 1-base Blink though?
Yeah, it was.
So,
but it lasted so long that it was kind of a 2-base. And the economy that Crank has at the moment, you know, 36 probes.
Wow. Crank's not going to change gears, man. He's going to throw down 5 more gates, and he's going to go for this.
First Marauder is already in production. Hack throwing down 2 bunkers on the low ground and a bunker on the high ground. But even when you scout it, even when you're well prepared for this, it will still be hard to defend. But the good thing for Hack is that he always gets Stimpack pretty damn early. So it's unlikely that he's ever going to lose the tag lab with Stimpack. And I'm a little bit worried for Crank. He's gonna need some sort of a mistake, you know, maybe a time warp on the ramp when most of the units are down the ramp, or even a sentry casting a force field from here, which is possible. But just a straight up, I'm not sure if it's going to work.
With Blink Stalkers, there's always a way. They're so mobile, and there's so many opportunities to create openings. But you're right, Kevin, it's going to be very hard. Marauder production has begun. Concussive shells and stim finishing. Starport is also finishing up, and once medevacs come out, it gets even harder.
Oh, he's going to blink into a Widowmine as well. Very cute.
Widowmine. That's
so cute. It could even hit the mothership core. That would be all the high ground vision.
Stalkers,
man, that's like jumping on a bomb. That must hurt.
Yeah.
There are no Marauders in this bunker. I think that's a little sloppy. You should always put at least 1 Marauder in both bunkers. Oh, he has to be so careful. I think he sees it. I think Crank knows about his Widowmine. It's pretty obvious on Derelict. I think it's time for Crank to just maybe back off, research charge. But he never took that for the simulator, so that kind of limits his options. Gonna go for it again. He's gonna recast time warp. He might be able to finish up, pick up the first bunker immediately.
Takes a lot of damage from that missile turret. Good blinks.
No, this
are
is
gonna
not
keep
gonna
these
work.
Stalkers alive for a little while longer, but the bunker's not gonna fall, and this is not going to work. And that was shut down hard.
No,
Crank continuing to warp in reinforcements.
Stim down the ramp. The Marauders are alone though. Marauders are fantastic against Stalkers, don't get me wrong, but they probably want a little bit of backup from a couple of the Marines. Work account shows us right now 41 against 40. Most of the SCVs are not actually mining though, but medevacs are on the way. For the simulator going down right now for Crank, so Crank is looking for a transition, but not before. He wants to make something happen. He knows that he needs to do more than he's done so far. Oh my god, this is crazy.
He's going for it, Kev. He's going to blink up into the high ground, and what is he going to focus? He's going to go after some
I don't think he knows.
Takes a shot at a tech lab. Now he's on to workers. He will lose a couple of stalkers to... Oh, bad blink. Sacrificing a couple more units there at a time when every unit counts. That is not a good feeling.
The first medevacs are out on the map. Crank has to be so careful. One bad blink and he could lose 7-8 stalkers in the blink of an eye.
Well, time warp is going to go down, but these units are not positioned well. Zealous can't get through.
He should also really stop focusing this bunker with 8 SCVs repairing it. This is not going to work. He has 5 workers advantage. If he survives until he gets charged, he's made so many stalkers though. I mean, Hack has just done everything right so far. He scouted it and he had the perfect answer.
Yeah, great defense. Crank's still not backing off.
He's buying time, and he's also making it harder for Hack to figure out whether Crank is still committing to this or not. But as a Terran player, you often have a pretty good feel for this.
Hack's adding extra barracks. Has he built a 3rd command center? I guess not.
Not yet.
He knows that build a 3rd command center might be the more important question.
Crank has 400 minerals. The upgrades for Hack are not that amazing though. The biggest problem for Crank right now is that there are so many Marauders on the map, and all that he has are a bunch of Blink Stalkers. And Blink Stalkers are cool, but not against Stim Marauders.
Yep. Certainly not with these medevacs in the mix, and we see it right there. Stim goes down, a Stalker falls, and then Crank is chased away. So Hack has officially defended this blink attack.
And he made it. Oh, Crank's to be so careful. He made it look easy. Hack did that just excellent from start to finish.
Oh, Crank. Oh, Crank. That's unfortunate. Couple Stalkers getting caught. One will fall. Second one might get tagged, but it should be. Nope, he's going to go down too. Man, these Marauders are so fast. Usain Bolt in a spacesuit. This one's going to go check and see if there's a 3rd expansion. He will be delighted to see that there is not.
There's so many Zealots, but there's still no charge. I'm very surprised that he waited so long to research charge. He's getting his first Immortal. I think he will be fine on 2 bases, don't get me wrong, with Photon Overcharge, a couple of force fields. Is it still a little scary? Yeah, but I think he should be fine. But if he had charge, I think he could actually just swarm around his army and fight it. And that would have been awesome. But
for now, that is not going to happen. Crank, beginning his Colossus production, knows he needs some kind of an answer.
This might seem like an easy scenario, but Crank has absolutely no map vision, so he has no idea whether these units are still standing here or if they are in medevacs. That's why skipping all the stalkers in the main base. This is kind of a spot that drives you paranoid as a Protoss player, but he has nothing to worry about. He will be safe.
3rd command center on the way now for Hack, so he's going to begin to take it to the next level. Ghost Academy also coming. That's a great choice. Not going to help much against the Colossi, though.
I mean, Heck's position is good, but it's not curtains yet for Crank. He made it up to Colossus Tech. He's researching charts at the moment. He has +1 armor, +1 attack is on the way. It's going to be hard for him to take a third base, and it's going to be a little later than the third base of Heck. But at the end of the day, if he makes it up to 3 bases, anything can still happen. It's still very realistic that this goes into a very long game, even though we can already see that Heck is producing the units that truly matter in this matchup. And then, of course, I'm talking about Ghosts, an additional starport, and also, I mean, Vikings and Ghosts. I'm confusing everything today, man. I think it's been too much StarCraft the last 2 days. We also got some Challenger League coming up after Premier League, so don't think that the next series is going to be the last one. We'll just keep going.
StarCraft for days, literally, because we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take a day off, and then we'll be back Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to take a few days off, and then we'll be back in Toronto. Lots more StarCraft, guys.
Can hardly complain. Templar Archives going up in the back of Crank's base as well. He is relatively low on workers, but that doesn't mean too much because he's going to mine out his main by the time that he's able to secure a third base anyways. He could have taken a risk and rolled the dice and tried to take it a little quicker, but he would have spread himself out so far over 3 bases.
Usain Bolt kills a probe before getting sliced to pieces by an angry zealot.
Was a very bloody Marauder as well. Left a stain on a beautiful Derelict. I think Terran is responsible to clean it
I
up.
still can't believe you don't like these spinning orbs inside the Vespine Mountains.
I do not. What I do like is that the Crank is getting storm banned.
How did they get in there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The spinning things inside the geyser. Like someone had to put them there. I guess it was the Zelnaga.
Sometimes you're like a child.
Big push coming from Hack. He's at 177 supply. Medivacs, Vikings, Ghosts, Marauders, Marines. And you know what? There's no storm for Crank, but it's coming soon.
Yeah, it would be really hard for Heck to push the issue that hard. He might be able to force a cancel on his third base. SCV's being pulled as well. Bomber cell all day, every day, going all out. It's going to be so hard to attack into this, though.
When the High Templars can win it right now. Storm,
oh my God, he's losing Vikings. That's so important.
Storm will finish as this fight is maybe even before it even starts. Third base might be denied, but this is a dangerous game that Hack is playing.
7 Vikings against 3 Colossus. I don't really like that ratio either if I was Hack. The EMPs are going to have to be absolutely perfect. Storm is ready. How many High Templars do we have? I think Crank should be fine.
No, there's
Ghost
4.
dies.
Yep. And here we go. What is going to happen? Whoa, no! There's a huge EMP on the High Templar. They're not able to storm. 2 more Templar come forward, and they do drop a storm. And another excellent storm right in the middle of the bio ball. The Colossi. There's 1 left. A single Colossus still alive. SCV still in the mix. Has Hack done this? Does he have enough, or will Crank push it back somehow? The Colossus staying alive. Stalker's pushing forward. I can't believe it, man.
It's so close, but the Immortal and the Archon so important, pushing these Marauders back. Hack has lost so many of his SCVs, only 16 remaining. There's no more photon overcharge, though. Crank would really, really love that second Immortal.
Why did you bring every SCV? He's got, he can't even mine, Kev. He's got 16 workers left. All I can do is drop mules. I don't think that Hack can win this game from this position.
I think if he would have kept pushing, he had a minor chance. But the moment the second Colossus was out, there's just no way. He has on 1/1 upgrade as well.
Hack's
Crank is going to get +2
Hack's
armor.
like, well, I better start producing SCVs again.
I must say, Crank put himself up in such a good defensive position, and that 1 Immortal that he had, that 1 Archon, made it so much harder for these Marauders to really power through, because you know, Stalkers kind of don't do anything against Marauders in fights like that. Beautiful hold by Crank.
Yeah, and a questionable call there by Hack, who...
Yeah, he didn't really have to do that. He was on 3 bases way before Crank. You know, and he just didn't have... If you want to make a push like that, you need enough Vikings to just immediately right-click on the Colossus and they have to fall like flies the moment they survive. Even though 2 of them did fall, but 1 of them survived, and that changed everything.
Double drop, Kev. Couple Marauders in the third base. Going to try and deny this Nexus while another... Oh, no! He cancels it! So misplayed there by Crank. Meanwhile, he might lose this meaningless Nexus in his main base.
It's not completely meaningless. There is still quite a bit of gas over here to be mined. These Medivacs will... I think 1 will fall. Yeah.
Well done. 1 Medivac does go down. These probes are going to be transferred over to the third base, where...
I mean, basically, he's on 1 base right now. I know, even though the main was almost mined out.
Wow! Again, Crank is going to lose that third base Nexus. This time it was not canceled. Fortunately, he has just enough money to start it up again. There's not much money left in Camp Crank. Whereas Hack, with only 16 SCVs,
he's already up to 30
yeah,
something.
He's back up to about 40.
He's actually severely outmining Crank at the moment. Those was a couple of great drops. And Hack from way behind, kind of evening up this game, and might even be putting himself in a reasonable position now. The biggest problem for him is still that he doesn't have an answer to Colossus. He only has 2 Ghost out on the map as well. His armies is not very strong, but Crank has to be very careful.
Yeah, he sure does. These stalkers know not to pick a fight with that bio ball. Crank not willing to leave his base with his heavy hitters, the Colossi, the High Templar, knowing that they have to keep that third base alive at all costs.
Every unit counts pretty much in a scenario like this. What an exciting game 3 here. Both players fighting for that tournament life. Theoretically, both of them could still make it to BlizzCon, but they're pretty much going to have to win WCS America Season 3 and then also do well at the season finals, or the other way around. But, you know, as long as there's hope.
Yep. And right now, Crank has just completed that third base, transferring over some probes. He's got 47 probes, so he'll have a great income once he starts mining there.
Above all, I would really love to see him you know, utilize that upgrade advantage that he once had a little more. Using hallucinated phoenixes, or maybe this observer, eventually he could use a couple of blink stocks to blink into the main. But right now he doesn't really want to throw away any units, which I can completely understand, because he's not in the position to recycle units after Hack took out 2 of his 3 bases.
Yeah.
Close call is going to be, man, regardless. 102 army supply against 115, and both players are not even close to max out. The funny thing is, because both of them are relatively low on workers, their army supplies can go up to 150. That's just going to create a ridiculous amount of bio units and Protoss death ball units.
It's a big Terran army, Kev. A couple of ghosts sprinkled in, Vikings overhead. There's 8 Vikings out on the map, 4 Colossi. A few more Vikings might help.
I think Hack is definitely never going to take a fight again until he has this crazy amount of ghosts and Viking, and he knows that he cannot afford to take another bad fight. Then it's absolutely curtains. There are way more High Templars than there are ghosts at the moment. Hack's going to evacuate his main and fly over to his fort base. I think that's very smart. And 2 upgrades are about to finish up for him, so he's actually going to be ahead in upgrades, while he was once so far behind.
Crank's got Ghost, not Ghost, High Templar just all over the map. 10 High Templar out.
Oh, it's like he knows!
Oh, and a good storm.
I think
a little bit of damage.
I think a couple of feedbacks would have been better in this situation. Zealot run by immediately at the third base as soon as he realizes that the army is out of position. I'm loving it. That's so smart. Now Hack's going to have to make a choice. Does he want to go right now when he has the upgrade advantage? Ooh, Ghost dies there as well.
Crank
losing
doing
a lot,
this well so far. This is what we were talking about. Late game PVT. Crank is great at being active around the map.
Now he's not even rich yet, so imagine if he is. Man, these High Templars, all these medevacts. Oh, great feedbacks!
Good feedbacks. Kills a ghost, drains another one.
That's why I love feedback, man. So good. Another Zealot run by. There are a few bio units waiting for it. Might be able to storm around. The armies are getting awfully close to each other, though.
Vikings getting some good shots off on a Colossus. He might go down. Observer falls. That's actually
scary,
pretty key.
I think there's Cloak as well.
It sure is, and wow, man, Hack is all over it. Cloaks come forwards and blankets the entire army in EMP. That is no shields left on this Protoss army. That's going to make this fight so much more difficult for Crank.
There are still 7 High Templars on the map, though, and the Ghosts are pretty much out of energy. They will be able to pick off one more. Vikings going to town on the Colossus.
Oh, Hack's going to go for it. Good control. Dancing out of Storm. The Colossi are all dead. High Templar trying to come back and be a factor in this fight. That's a whiff storm right there, only landing on a single Marauder. Hack pushing forward. Crank's army does not look big enough. Good control from Hack. Another storm does minimal damage to the army. And
that's about it. Only 2 High Templars remaining.
Maybe 1 storm left.
There are so many Marines. There is a Ghost with a little bit of EMP as well. These Zealots did so much damage on the other side of the map, though. Oh my god, this is so close. But there's a Colossus on the way, but it's not there yet. Another scan goes down. Hack knows that he can't eat a storm. This is like a life against first all over again.
It's all going to come down to this, the critical final fight, and Hack is going to brilliantly choose to go up the
And he
ramp.
picked up both High Templars.
No.
So key. So key.
Templar are down. Hack's going to force the fight. Here we go. No, Crank is just refusing to cast the storms. Hack's refusing to commit to a
Yeah,
fight.
Heck doesn't know. Heck doesn't know there's not a single storm. He might be able to snipe off this robotics facility.
Oh, and it is going to go down. The Nexus exposed. That's not a huge deal. He is committed to fighting now.
Oh my
snipes
God.
from the high ground. Excellent play from Hack. He's at 140 supply. Crank is not going to have enough. That's going to do it. Startail Hack pushing in for the win.
Wow, absolutely ridiculous control by Hack in the later stages of this game. That was fantastic.